If you've had an option to put in a heat pump, all of our spas will be heat pump ready. But if you've ordered the heat pump, we're going to show you actually how to fit a heat pump when it's delivered to your place. So let's have a bit of a look first what we're going to receive when we get a heat pump. This will be the heat pump unit. Okay, you have our heat pump wiring, which will be your electrical side and your data cable. Your data cable is going to go back to your control box. Your electricals is also going to go back to your control box. There is no other electricals needed for this unit unless you go past 3 metres, and then you will have to look at separate wiring. But at this point, let's go through the exercise with a 3 metre or approximately away from the spa. Once you've got the heat pump, obviously you're going to have hose. It depends where you're going to put the hose as to what type of hose you use. You can use hard pipe or you can use the flexi. It really does depend on how far and where it is positioned. So this is the heat pump unit. There's your hose. This is your power. These are barrel unions here which we're going to unscrew, and you don't have to worry about any of these units here at all. You leave those all alone. The heat pump is all self-sufficient. So we might get Paddy across to actually show you how to glue it and actually how to fit it up, including the wiring, and then we will show you where the wires go in the control box. Now if you take note also too, we have a slip seal. So that slip seal goes on dry, you don't need to put any glue on it, and it pushes up hard against the actual body in here, and then we screw that in. We screw it hand tight very firmly. Same at the bottom one. Again, ensuring that it's slipped across here so that we have something going inside the actual heater, and then we will fit that. Very, very, very simple. You can use, as I said, hard pipe as well. Now on your spa, whether it be a swim spa in this instance or whether it be a normal spa pool, you're going to have a top and bottom. And all you're really doing is the top part of this hose here and the bottom part of that hose will go with the bottom and the top on the spa. No need to mark it or anything along those lines. For the purposes, we're only just using a glue straight in to the elbows. In we go. And I'll push that up just a little bit more so she goes in. Of course you can have it so the pipe goes down and you can get it in that way, but this, for our purpose right here, pretty simple. You're also going to glue it, and you should wait several hours for that glue to go off. Again, no glue at the heat pump end, but that is glued, ready to go here, and we let that cure. Once you've allowed enough time, sufficient time for the glue to go off, which as I said will be a couple of hours at least, we're going to feed the electrical and the data cable through on the actual spa. So we just feed that through. We then get the ends, which are here. So this is your power, that's your data cable, and we're going to feed that into the control box. But the first thing we've got to do before we put that into the control box is to make sure that the power is off. Ensuring that the power is off, obviously you can make a decision right now whether you want an electrician to hook it up or you wish to do it yourself. As long as the power is off, then we haven't got any problems here, even though in taking this plate off here there is no power that can harm us in this direction. So plate's off. We're going to then put in our data cable now to expand a port 2, make sure it clicks in nicely there, feed it across. That works out perfectly, and then we use our power lead, which is going to power the actual heat pump. That will only go in one way as well. So this will only go in one way, that will only go in one way. Once we've done that, we can then put the plate back on, and our job's done. Our heat pump actually is connected, ready to go. And then we can power up and get the spa started. Now once we've done the electricals, we have an option whereby we need to get the electricals off the ground. We can tie them to the hose here, or if you're digging into a trench, then they will be laid in a conduit in the trench. But for our purposes here right now, we're just tying those up so it's nice and neat, out of the way, so that nothing's going to catch that, and you're not going to have a situation where they may get kinked or chopped. So that's purely what we would do. That's ready to go. Okay, so if we move along and we say, okay, well we're ready to go. We need to put water into the unit. We need to get water flow. We've got 3 valves here. So what we're going to do is that the main valve that we've got our hand on now is the main supply valve. We're going to turn that at 90 degrees. Now what that's actually doing is that the water is coming along here, and instead of continuing in this path here that way, it's actually going to go into the actual heater and then be returned back to the heater. So this is stopping it going continually right through, and it's bypassing into the heater, and that's what we want to do. As you can see, both of these valves are shut, so we're going to open both of those, so we have water going into the heat pump right now. So that's going in, and this will be returned. So what you have there is that you have a flow here through the heater, back out the heater, and back into your control box and past the unit there. So we now have a water supply to the heat pump. So we might just power up the unit, and that's going to prime, and it will be ready to start virtually straight away. There it goes priming now. As you can hear in the background, there's a little bit of bubble, and that bubble will be the air coming through on the heat pump. Just in positioning the heat pump, we have to ensure this is the intake side of the heat pump, so we're going to be pulling your ambient air through here. We require at least the minimum of 300 mil. At least 300 mil. So that's pulling here. You can hear how quiet it is, there's no issue there, but at least 300 mil. Now on the other side, we have what we call the exhaust. On the exhaust side, which is where all the air is blowing, that's all coming out here, we require 2.5 metres. So we need 2.5 metres so that the exhaust doesn't move up and then get sucked back down into the intake. It can be on the other side of the fence, but you must have an exhaust that's going to get the air away, and you need enough to pull the air in as well.